Better.
We're going to do better.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. I certainly want to welcome you here today. Again, I'm on here to give some Summer Creek updates, but I wanted to say this. Mr. Gaddy called probably about a month ago. He asked, Mr. Hurst, can we have Mr. Kramer to do, it was something he wanted Mr. Kramer to do. So I sat on it and I thought about it and I said, I finally responded back and said, no, let's not have Mr. Kramer to do. We appreciate him getting us started and putting us where we are. It's time for Mr. Hurst to take hold of Bizcom, so I can make this thing my own with respect to Mr. Kramer. And as a district person, being his role, he still have a part to do in this meeting. So I'm going to take over this Bizcom thing. I'm going to move Mr. Kramer to the side a little bit, and we're going to start making this my own, putting my own face, my handprint on this thing, with no disrespect to Mr. Kramer or Mr. Gibbs.
Oh, that's perfect.
I wanted to say that. But here at Summer Creek, we are moving. We are moving in a positive direction. This morning, we started our we're rewriting our mission statement in terms of what we stand for and what we mean, in terms of why we exist. We're excited about that work. We're going to move directly into the vision statement. Then we're going to start writing collective commitments. When we get to the collective commitment piece, we're going to take in parents. We want to see some of the things that they, in terms of what they value, what they want to bring, and then we're going to do a student piece. And then we're going to have those collective commitments done collectively amongst those three stakeholders. So we will put that together. Start rewriting the fabric and actually getting it out in terms of what we do and what we actually mean here at Summer Creek. So we're excited. The year's gotten off, we got off to a good start. We have about 2,305 students. We're writing projections. Teaching staff, we'll be adding 4.5 new teaching units in terms of what the district is doing. So if you have children here, it's going to be a random process in which some schedules will change and will have nothing to do with the way the schedule system is run. So we'll be sending that information home shortly. But a lot of great things are happening in the district in terms of where we're going with literacy and putting interventions in place to address individual student needs, being able to be more prescriptive in terms of addressing some individual needs. So we're excited about what we're putting in place here and getting ready to do at Summer Creek High School. Again, we're so fortunate to have the community that comes and stand behind us. When we call, you come, the parents. Parental involvement is good. We're just so fortunate. Looked at the spring incident last week. Sent that principal an email praying for her school and their community in terms of that they would come together and find a sense of peace and belonging. But what we have here at Summer Creek, what we have here in this community, it means a lot to me to see you guys here, that we were able to put this together and to keep it going. And I just really appreciate the efforts that we're doing to bring it together to make it one. Mr. Gaddy, the work that you do, I appreciate it. Don't feel like you get on my nerves when I'm sending you to my secretary and you keep calling and keep calling. Keep calling. I want you to keep calling.
I will.
We need to put this together. And, guys, you're welcome. I appreciate everything you do. If you need me, you know where to find me. I'm here pretty much all day, all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Please give him I'm very excited about what he just said. Because for those of you that have been around, you know this. Some of you, if this is your first time, you have no idea how this all just happened. But it didn't just happen. Back in May of 2009, this school was just starting to take shape, getting ready to start school the following August and September. At that point in time, and I just want to give a little background because Trey Kramer is still in the district. Trey Kramer, as you know, is a very, very strong leader. Lacks a little bit of enthusiasm, but anybody who knows Trey, that's not true. It's hard to keep him on the ground. But one of the things that happened at that point in time, our goal when we were talking about this area, this is a melting pot. And nobody had ever really been able to do much of anything as far as creating a sense of community. ideal time with the new high school coming in. And so what we envision, and we'll talk about this more in just a few minutes, is on a Friday night, or in this case a Thursday night, when a football game's going on, the community shuts down to go support the high school. That's the kind of vision we've had with this. And so what's transpired, this is now the 20th meeting that we've had at this over that period of time. This May, coming up, will be 5 years that we've been doing this. So what's happened? The community has come together in an amazing way. There's a lot of things going on. And so one of the things that I want to talk about today is that my wife and I are studying a book, and guys, this may not be a bad idea for you guys. I'm learning how to communicate. Because occasionally, you know, men and women are different. Did you guys know that? So anyway, we were studying about this thing that they're, Terry, I know that was an aha moment for you. Okay. Well, listen carefully. Okay, good. So one of the things that we've looked at, and you know this if you think about it, there's 5 different levels, according to this book, 5 different levels of communication. That superficial level of communication, hey, how you doing? And Josh says, well, my family's dying, all that. Oh, that's nice, Josh, see you. Okay, you know that kind of communication. Then there's different levels. But some of the deepest communication that happens is when people start to talk about their hopes and dreams, not only for themselves, but also for their children, their community, for their country. Relationship with God, all those kind of things go into that kind of communication. So today, we're going to have a whole lot of fun. This is an exciting time in this area. But we're also going to have some deeper communication because I feel like we're at the verge of really making a difference in this area, but potentially throughout this country. We'll see. So today we're going to be talking about a lot of things, and I'm going to be drawing a lot of other people, but if you'll look right into your agenda, we're going to be talking about these things, and one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, this is a year of challenges, but also this is a year of opportunities, and that'll become evident in just a minute. And Mr. Hurst, thank you so much for opening. You couldn't have done a better job, and we're so behind you. He is a terrific leader. If you don't know Mr. Hurst, take the time to get to know him. Great things in store. Then we're going to have a little bit of change here, but we'll have Brian Ford, Robert Sprouse, and we go on down through. And so we've got a lot of things. You know, every time we put together one of these agendas, I always think, I don't know if we're going to have enough to cover. Well, I'm a slow learner because we always have way too much. But one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do at noon, if you need to leave, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But we're going to go right into that from our presentations all the way through at noon. Right into every person that's here is going to have an opportunity to stand up and say a little bit about their organization if they want to, or their business, keeping that to 30 seconds. But I'm really going to ask you to stay for that if you possibly can. Because in those times, those are the times that we get to know each other, and we get to learn about each other and improve things within our community. So we want to come back for just a second, and I want to do one thing before you come up, Coach, is Lewis Smith, would you mind coming on up? Because today he's rushing. As you know, he's rushing as one of our new school board members. Great partner. Heath has got a few things on his plate. Isn't that right, Tom? Tom Cole? Yeah, I caught Tom with his mouth full. So Lewis is the CEO of over here at Memorial Herman Convenient Care Center. And so he's got a few things to say. And Lewis, we're so glad you're here.
Right, well, thank you. It's not too often I get to fill in for Heath, so I'll try to do him justice. You know Heath, you can appreciate that a little bit. I do want to give you an update on the Convenient Care Center. We've been in a part of the community now. We're on our 9th month. And when we started, there's many services in that center, but one was a primary care office. We started with one provider, Dr. Dawn Doe. Some of you may know her. She's been here many times. But as of this time next month, we will actually be adding our 5th primary care provider in that office. We now have 3 physicians and 2 nurse practitioners in that office in just literally 9 months. So thank you for embracing that center and really using that for your primary care. We continue to take a lot of walk-ins. About 50% of the business is now still walk-ins, but also scheduled basis. We also have the imaging as well as the emergency center that is there, which is an extension of the emergency department at Northeast Hospital. So that center has done really well. We actually have been now becoming out with specialists, excuse me, rotating in that center. And this has been a real special time for us because Memorial Hermann has a partnership with UT Health Science Center, where we're able to bring physicians out from the Texas Medical Center that get based and housed in this community, providing specialist services. And I've got a couple in the audience right now. Dr. Kalidas, can you please raise your hand? Dr. Kalidas, medical oncology associated with UT Oncology Services. So a real level of expertise coming out. She is available on a full-time, regular basis in this community. And then Dr. Vic Garadia. Dr. Garadia, can you stand? Dr. Garadia, sports medicine, fellowship trained, part again of UT Orthopedics, where we bring that expertise out to this community on a full-time, regular basis. And in that relationship with our orthopedics with the Humboldt Independent School District, we actually provide the services to the schools for medical care for student athletes. We actually staff the sidelines, not only on home games, but also away games. Our relationship was the first time that it ever occurred. We also provide Saturday morning clinics, as well as during the week in the training rooms. We have concussion focus programs, as well as cardiovascular screening on the school physicals, as well as periodically through the year. So really bringing a wealth of orthopedic services as other medical services to this community, but specifically to our schools and obviously Summer Creek. If you walk in to our center, we actually have framed jerseys from the schools, and Summer Creek's one of those, and so we really enjoy that relationship and that partnership. You're going to continue to see this center grow and develop with more specialties. Right now today, we do have orthopedics, cardiology, OB that are there, as well as primary care. That'll be expanding in the months to come. You'll see more about that. And now that we're up to 5 providers in the primary care, you're going to see that practice announced within about the next 2 weeks, full 7-day coverage for primary care outside of the emergency center. Our goal there, and what makes our emergency center unique, is that when you walk in and we triage you, if it is not truly an emergency, we're going to be able to get you over to the primary care office so that you don't incur an emergency hospital type bill. We're the only facility that has the capability of doing that, caring for your true emergency or making sure you get to the right level, but to protect your financial structure sometimes, because it is very expensive to come to an emergency room if you really don't have an emergency. So that's just a further way that we're trying to create value for you in this community. So thank you again for your support. You'll see more coming from the Convenient Care Center.
Okay, thank you.
I'm thinking one of these days they're going to get in touch with me and say they found the fountain of youth. So we just will live for ever and ever here. Maybe not, Paul. What do you think? Okay, so, okay. Like I don't have a big enough mouth. All right. So it's now we're going to be talking about something that I think, does anybody in here like football? Raise your hand. Anybody like football? Yeah, all right. Okay. It's the second religion in Texas, right? Or some people it's the first, I think. But one of the things that you'll find, as you may notice, and football teams just love this when they have a bullseye on their back. And here, within just a very short period of time, Summer Creek High School has it. I remember the day that the Houston Chronicle came out with the article that said they were #1 in 4A in this region, and I talked to Coach Ford about it. Well, that just goes along, and the other coaches said, I wish they quit writing about it. So, but the thing of it is, I want to introduce a man that is a good friend. I respect Coach Ford for a lot more than just being a football coach. While he is a fantastic coach, has a fantastic team, I respect him as a man, I respect him as a husband. And so if you wouldn't mind giving him a round of applause, please, Coach, come on.
Thank you, Don, I appreciate that. Just wanted to, first of all, thank all of you here, the business community of this area, for all the support that you give, not only to football, but to all of our programs. I did notice there were some people that did not raise their hand when you asked that question.
They probably didn't understand the question.
Little background on me, I never played one single down of football in my life. I was a baseball player. Coach Probant was a coach at Sam Rayburn High School when I was there back in 1983, early 80s. And so No, we really appreciate all your support. As many of you know, we have an all-sport booster club here. It's all inclusive of all of the different sports, not just football. And we're not split, we're not individual, we're all together as a booster club. And we do appreciate, we had some very successful fundraising last year, and I know a lot of the people in this room were able to contribute to that. We had, I think I talked last year about golf tournament. That is our spring fundraiser. We had another very successful event. We're about to roll out our Bulldog coupon card for the All Sport Club, and we did very well with that last fall also. So just continue to do that for us, and just every area, there's so many different areas that people pitch in what they can do. It's either money or time, whatever. We really appreciate it. Just to talk a little bit about the football team, I'll recap last year. I think it was about this time last year that I spoke.
Spring.
Was it spring? Okay. I'm losing track. Anyway, so I probably recapped that already, but
Spring than spring before.
we had our third varsity season last fall. Came into it with expectations, but not really knowing exactly how it would turn out. We had gone 9-1 the year before in our second season, first year with seniors, made the playoffs, made an early exit. Last year we came in expecting or hoping that we would take a step forward. We were able to go 10-0, win an undefeated district championship. We were able to win our first playoff game, beat Viter at Deer Park, and then ran into a kind of a buzzsaw second round. We lost to Georgetown High School in the second round last year. They were also 11-0 at the time, and after our game went on to play in the state finals. They lost to Denton Geyer in the finals. So, and I believe until that game we had the closest game with them. They really kind of rolled through this region. So it was very successful. The thing that we have coming into this season is a lot of people back off of that football team. So we are one of the favorites in the region. As he mentioned, we've been as high as number 1 in some of the polls, as high as number 7 in some of the state polls. And so there are a lot of expectations this year that I feel like he mentioned this, I feel like we embrace that. It's part of what comes with the success that you earn on a day-to-day basis. The thing that we talked to the kids about, as soon as that Georgetown game ended last year, we began the new season. That season ended and the new season began. We are at the tail end of this season starting out last week. A lot of people think it's the beginning of the season. It's really not. It's really towards the end of the season. We have been working hard since December of last year. January, February, March in the off season. May is spring football, summer workouts. All of that work has been put in over the course of the year, and now is payoff time. So we embrace that challenge. We embrace the success that we've had and look for more. So that's kind of what we're looking to. We do play tonight. We play Port Neches Grove, a traditional powerhouse in southeast Texas, and they are 2-0 coming in, so we expect to have a really good game on our hands tonight. Looking to take that step forward in execution and performance. It's early in the game part of the season, so we're making mistakes, but we're trying to correct those as we go. Really, again, want to thank all of you for your support. Particularly, I think Don is going to speak to these people, but one thing about that playoff game last year, we played that in College Station, and I don't know if any of you know how we travel in this district, but our coaches drive that yellow school bus. That's how we get to and from games. And number one, they're not real comfortable. And number two, those coaches don't really enjoy having to drive on a day when they're very much concerned with the game going and the result after coming back. And so I know there's a group here that he's going to name specifically that chipped in, and we were able to get charters to take us to College Station last year, and we really appreciated that. It was special, and we really appreciate it. And just thank you again for all the support of all the programs, and I'm going to turn this back over to Don. Hope to see y'all tonight.
Give him a round of applause. Okay, now, but newspaper folks here, do you all have a camera with you?
Yes.
Here, that you can take a picture with? Boy, I caught her off guard, okay. That doesn't happen very often, Jennifer. I'm pretty excited about that. By the way, let me go ahead and Corey Turner, raise your hand, please. And then Jennifer Summer, and she's trying to look like she's with the Observer newspaper. They have been such great supporters. We so appreciate you. And if you haven't noticed it, we started having a monthly column about this area in there so that they have me write. And I'll be calling on some of you guys for help on that. So give them a round of applause, please. So what I'm going to ask is, last year, I think it was Robert Sitton that maybe had this idea, but he emailed me and said, look, we got these guys going to this playoff game. What can y'all do? And so I sent out an email, and with a matter of, I don't remember how many hours, we had enough money to send them in 2 chartered buses. That is awesome. So I'm going to give you the names of the people. If you're here, please come up quickly. We want to get a picture for you. We want to really tell you how much we appreciate it. Dr. Sconzo could not be here. He was one of those. Lindell and Stephanie Coxshell, come on up. Norman Thunderberg, please. Dr. Alan Chen, Andrea and John Scholl, I believe. Shannon and Mark Denson. Heath Rushing's not here, obviously, so we can't do that. Larry and Brandy Muse could not be here today. And in place of Bert Brocker, I know it's going to be hard for you to tell the difference, but you've got Tom Huberty. They look like twins. If you know Bert, you know, come on up, Tom. And then also Janelle Thomas. And so these are all people that stepped up. And by the way, let me just brag on Tom. My son, we got him a used pickup. That was a great, you really spoiled him. And so that, there's nothing to compare to purchasing a vehicle from you guys. So please, I'm sorry?
He deserves it.
Well, thank you very much. Give them a round of applause, please.
Y'all ready? All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. And let me just, give them a round of applause. Lindell and Stephanie Coxshell of Summerwood Smoothie King, Norman Thunderberg representing Coke Glitch and Memorial Herman, Dr. Alan Chan, Fall Creek TSO, the Shales from Fall Creek Primrose, Shannon Mark Denson, On-Site Towing, Heath Rushing, Memorial Herman, Larry and Brandon Muse were Summerwood Primrose, and Bert Brocker, Texan GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, and are y'all going to own all of those guys out there before long? So just cars. Okay, so thank you very much. All right, now, while we're at it, how many of our Humble ISD school administrators do we have in the audience today? Please raise your hand, and if you don't mind standing up and just introducing yourself, just say your name and what school you're from or where you're from, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Yvonne Stroud, Fall Creek Elementary.
Yay. Okay.
I'm Debbie Romines, principal of Ridge Creek Elementary.
Great. We're so glad you're here, and sorry to catch you. Okay.
I'm Representative Davies. I'm the principal of Northbelt Elementary.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Give them a round of applause. And for those of you that do not know, and is Kathy Arola here today? Is Kathy here? Okay. And Brian Peters is the new, you need to say something? Oh, boy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's good. Keep me in line. That's all right. So Brian Peters is the new principal at Summerwood Elementary, and we have as our guest, and we're very excited. We hated to lose Shirley Ellisor, but Dr. Esch, are you here?
Yes.
All right. And she's with Holy Trinity School, a great partner of ours, and also, go ahead, introduce yourselves, please.
Okay,
Come on,
this is
Christy.
She's my advancement director, and we are just excited to be here. I'm the new head of school at Holy Trinity Episcopal School, just down the street. So
Absolutely.
sponsors, we're just down the street. I'm not kidding.
Okay, I got to visit with them recently. They've got huge plans for out there. Great partner for us here. We're so glad you're here. Okay, so every week, if you don't know this, and you know, I'm so excited about Rob Sprouse. If you don't know him, I'm going to give him about 5 minutes to tell you what he does. Rob, come on up, please. Give him a round of applause.
Well, what we do, and if I kind of phrase it the way I want to, you may think I'm talking about science fiction. Basically, we are the live chroniclers of Summer Creek High School sports. So it's the live chronicles that you're hearing every time you listen to us on web radio at hrnsports.com. And basically what we do is we provide these kids an outlet so that people can listen to what they do and appreciate what they do. And when you have an outstanding coach like Brian Ford, you have outstanding athletes, then you have a winning football team. And there's nothing more fun, take my word for it, from an announcing standpoint, having broadcasted some losing teams in minor league baseball. 84 games one year with 37 wins, but nevertheless, over in Louisiana. But nevertheless, I am Rob Sprouse, and I am with HRN Sports. That's a High Points Internet Radio Network. We started out as a magazine. We found that the economy being what it was, really a magazine, and the way people were going to the internet, we basically said, I don't know if this is going to work out in the long run. People love to read the magazine, but one thing they didn't really do was subscribe to the magazine. And they liked the way we wrote it. I wanted to write it like Sports Illustrated, very, very feature article-ish, so to speak, and really put a lot of deep thought in and right above the normal reading level of most people and comprehension level. They always say, well, if you write a magazine, if you do a television program, you basically need to do it at 12 to 16-year-old level. That's what they used to tell me when I was in television many years ago. But basically, the bottom line is that when that really was starting to go south, we said, you know what? Let's do what I really love to do, and that's what I did for 15 years, and that's broadcast. I was in over-the-air radio, I announced, as I said before, minor league baseball. So I said, Summer Creek is opening up. My son was in the first graduating class, Benjamin Sprouse. He's now at the University of Texas. And I said, let's get these kids an opportunity, not only Summer Creek High School, but also in the so-called minor sports. And I don't think that any sport is minor. When you look at what kids think about the sports that they're playing, they all believe they're major sports, the sports that they play. So basically, we said, we're going to cover cross country, we're going to cover swimming, we're going to cover golf. And we did. Last year, Connor Black won second in the 4A over at the state of Texas, a UIL meet. And this year is expected probably to take gold. So Connor Black, an outstanding golfer here at Summer Creek. But to get back to what we do, and you can really find that, and after I do this, if you want to come up to me after we're through today, I will show you what we've got to offer you. Basically, we call this year Summer Creek High School HRN Sports Year of the Crown. And we are the webcasters. You go to hrnsports.com. Not only can you hear it live, but you can hear it archived right after the game is over with. It's automatically archived. And you go to our website, and you get many things, including the 10 football games home and away. We're the only ones that chronicle on the audio side, of course, and we certainly support all the video that has been going on as well in the area with Burt Rocker. He does a great job, and certainly very happy to see that. That just sort of complements what we do and vice versa. So 10 football games home and away. We do the home district basketball games for the boys, key road games for the boys. Last year I did the girls. This year, if the girls are in a playoff situation where they need to win 4th place or win a district title, we're going to be doing that game, and we hope to carry their playoff games. We did carry their playoff game last year. They lost a tough one to, I believe, Beaumont Central by only like 1 or 2 points over at Barbers Hill. I'm sorry, Lee College. So basically, we will be covering that if they get that far. We also do the baseball games, home district games for boys, and key road games once again. So 12 games for basketball, 14 for baseball, 36 regular season games overall, and of course all the playoff games right there. We also give you the free coverage of the state cross country meet, the state track meet, that type of thing, state swimming. We're the ones that go there and file updates, and we have a big kick out of doing that because we have a lot of tremendous athletes. I know I've got to wrap this up very, very quickly, but when you advertise with us, you get a few things, and I've got a few packages, and we want to thank Don for coming on just this week. But basically, he's going to, if you'll see right here with our information card, it can also be a coupon card. Lindell Cocktail, my good friend, I don't think anybody does anymore in the community in the Lindell Cocktail, maybe Don's a close second. Lindell Cocktail at Smoothie King, and he put a little coupon in there, or information as well. You can see Don Geddes, you can see iTrends from Summer Creek, and the Postnet, and so on. And there's 8 sponsors to start out. We'd like to expand that, but it's tough to get everybody in. Lupe Tortilla joined us this year for the first time, and certainly Postnet. Boy, they do a great job for us. They made the cards. Thank you, Renee, and thank you, Greg. But I will be glad to answer questions after this is all over today and show you what we've got to offer you. It's going to be a big year, the year of the crown. We've already won the 4A state championship in track, and I guarantee you for football this year, this team could go a long way. Pick no worse than the top 4. Old Coach Friday Night Football Magazine, top 4, and the championship game as far as Dave Campbell is concerned, and again, #1 of the region. And Coach Ford does a great job, and I don't expect anything less. But with Aaron Sharp and people like that, they should go a long way. And we hope that you enjoy listening to us. And like I say, it's not science fiction. It's not I guess nuclear physics or anything like that. It's pretty simple. It's good value for you as an advertiser, and it's good value for the kids in our district. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Obviously, he's fairly enthusiastic, wouldn't you say? That's awesome. He lives here. He's invested in the community. My understanding on the number of people that listened to those games via webcast last year was about 40,000 people. So that's awesome. And, that was, I think there's a little bit more in the pipe there this year. So thank you very much. So before we go to a couple of things, Tony Klaus, did you want to come up here or did you want to speak from back there? What would you like to do? Come on up, Tony. And then also, Janet Allen, are you here?
Yep.
Okay, great. These are 2 wonderful people here, and I want to brag on them just a little bit, and another person. In Texas, when you have get-togethers, it really helps if you got food, doesn't it? So way back when we first started out, Dwayne Johnson, raise your hand in the back, with Chick-fil-A, my dear friend, and Erica, his wife, stepped up to the plate and provided unlimited food for these meetings. I don't think we've got anywhere without you, Dwayne. I think we wouldn't have anybody here, so we really appreciate that. And then HEB, like a rock star, came in. These people in this area wanted a grocery store for probably 15 years before HEB came in. And so they have been providing meals as well. And we also have a great new partner in Shell Federal Credit Union. So, Tony?
Thank you, Don. First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate the opportunity to have time in front of you today. And what I told Don, I said, it'd probably be a great time for me to share a little bit about HEB for the last 3 years. We just cycled our 3rd year. And obviously being the big box in the neighborhood, people sort of look to us as business owners to sort of see where the store is going, which may be the trend of the community. And I thought that I'd take the opportunity to share a little bit of the information about our store and what's taken place over the last 3 years. First and foremost, I'd like to talk about customer count. Don referenced our community being a melting pot in the area. Well, I can tell you that initially we started off with about 17,000 customers a week is what we were running through the store when we opened it back in 2010. Today we are running about 28,000 customers a week through the store. And so you can see, the reason I shared that fact is because obviously you can tell that there's a lot of growth, not only in the area, but more importantly, the pull radius of the store. And that's really what I want to talk about from a business standpoint is as business leaders, owners, future business owners in the area, this area not only is growing, but quite honestly, due to the location of the area, it also pulls from quite a ways out. Our pull radius, we did a spotting recently, and our pull radius is up to 16 miles to our store. And so we're pulling folks actually from Baytown to shop our HEB store in Summerwood. That's pretty phenomenal for some folks to drive that far, and we're quite surprised when we learned that. And it's not 1 or 2 people, it's quite a few folks. But today we don't operate an HEB food and drug store in Baytown, and that may be the reason why. However, we have closed some small stores over the years back towards I-10, the Sheldon area, and those stores, the Wood Forest area, Federal Road area, and so some of those customers as well are coming over. So really what I wanted to take the opportunity from a business owner perspective is not only is the area growing at an extremely fast pace, which is good and bad, it creates some challenges as well, but it's important to know that the pull radius for your businesses as well as mine is well beyond the immediate area. And that's something that we've had to learn at HEB over the last year is how do we serve our immediate community and how do we also serve those that are driving in from that wide radius because we do have that on a regular basis. The other thing that I wanted to share with you to sort of support the growth and the things that Don's talked about. I can remember when this room started out with less than 50 people. Actually, the first one was 30, 40 people initially, and today it was funny because Don and I talked yesterday, and we had about 65, 70 people RSVP, and there's well over 100 folks in the room, and there has been pretty consistently every time we have the meeting, and that obviously shows the growth in the community and the commitment level to the business operators and owners in the area to be a part of the growing community. From a sales growth perspective, not something I would typically stand up, as you probably would, and tell folks about, but because of who we are and the commitment that we have in the community, I think it's important to also talk about the customer growth and the sales growth. And this is something that's very difficult as a business leader to keep up with. Our store for the first year grew at a pace of about 17%. The second year it grew at a pace of 23.5%, almost 24%, which is #1 in our entire company. And then this year we're growing at a pace of about 15%. I don't know many businesses that grow at that pace 3 years back to back. And so that says a lot about this community, and that's the reason that I'm sharing it, is because it's not just about HEB, it's about all of your businesses. And I can tell you that the growth opportunity is here. It's happening right in front of us. It's quite a challenge at times to keep up with when you grow that fast, because first and foremost, staffing is a real challenge. Today we employ about 250 people. I need to employ about another 25 or 30. And it's very challenging to get staffed and obviously hire the right people to serve you as well as all my other customers. And it's quite challenging. But I did want to share a little bit about the big box store in the neighborhood, so you can have a general idea of the direction that we've been going the last 3 years, and also have a little bit of an idea as far as the pull radius and the potential for your businesses as well if you're not in the same place. So just wanted to share that. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you for the food, Tony.
Absolutely.
I mean, he just said in Summerwood, Fall Creek, we eat, right? Just goes back to say, we wouldn't have made it without you guys. We really appreciate it. Okay, so another thing that has been so good, remember we said we started here with, and it wasn't called the Bizcom at that, it was a long sentence. We used to say what we were. And I want to just, for those of you that are in the advisory group, would you stand up, please? Just stand up real quick. I just appreciate it. Dwayne, raise your hand, please. These are people that have worked behind the scenes. Thank you so much, all of you. And helped, without them, this would not be taking place. Stephanie Bianca-Lillo, where are you? Stephanie is with the Chamber of Commerce. It's unbelievable, all the things that Stephanie does. We'll talk more about Stephanie later. Give her a round of applause. Okay, now, Janet Allen, come on up, please. She is the Business Development Manager for Shell Federal Credit Union.
Thank you all. I'll be brief because I know that we have a lot on our agenda today. But yes, I'm with Shell Federal Credit Union. We are located on Wilson Road in Beltway 8. We've been open a little over a year now, and that branch is doing really, really well. It's actually competing against our mature branches, so we're very proud of that. We do have 7 other locations in the Harris County area, and I did put some information about our current promotion that we do have. We have gray auto rates as low as 1.25 with 1% cash back and 90 days deferred payments. So please come out and visit us. We are so happy to be here in the Humble area. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, one of the things that's cool about being in a community like this is when you are able to start doing business with friends. And that's really what happens. For the businesses to be able to grow and so forth, they need our support. And it's neat to see the printing princess over here from PostNet and see all of the others that we're able to do business with in this community. It's fun. It's exciting. So one of the other things that I wanted to mention, a couple things, and I'm doing this on purpose, and I hope you'll bear with me, Angela. I wanted to kind of make sure you notice throughout the program, there's a lot of people to thank in there. And so I just appreciate so much all of you and your support through this. And it's exciting times, and you're going to hear about some more challenges, some more opportunities. But before we do that, there's a couple things. Gerard, I know that your lovely bride is not here today. Barbara is not here. She usually does the notes, and today we're very thankful that Angie is doing that for us today. And Yuri, oh, she almost forgot. Angie Yuri, and I've got to say, this is on her birthday. She's 21 years old today. Everybody say, happy birthday. But Barbara could not be here today because her son was having back surgery yesterday, and so she's taking care of him, and we really appreciate that. On a sad note, If a lot of you probably remember Vicki Maxfield, that she came for a long, long time here, and she's not doing well right now. She loves God, and I think she's going to do great eternally. But one of the things about Vicki is she is in hospice care right now in Arizona. So please keep her in your prayers, and we please tell her. Thank you. You know, there's give and take in this building relationships, isn't it? You know, you get to enjoy the fun times, but also there's some times that are kind of sad, but that's life, isn't it? So, now, remember I said at the first part of this, there's different levels of communication. We're going to change levels of communication right now. Recently, when they opened up the school year, Dr. Sconzo invited a number of us in the business community to come to the luncheon between convocation that started out the school year with all the teachers. There's so many teachers over at the Humble Civic Center, they have to do it in 2 shifts, and it's full. But he had a gentleman come and speak that day named Bill Daggett, Dr. Bill Daggett. And today, one of the things that we have as a treat, but I think she's going to be talking about, and we're going to be talking about this a lot through the years, because this is a time where we're seeing that our school district does extremely well in test scores and so forth, but their hands have really been strapped by state law. Well, some of that has changed. And we are so fortunate and blessed to have a superintendent that has pushed for that change and a school board that has pushed for that change so that we can prepare our students to be able to go out and actually function in this world. So we're so blessed today. Angela Conrad recently ran for school board and won school board election. And she's here today to talk a little bit about that. Angela, please give her a round of applause.
So I'll begin my update. You all are talking about growth, so I'll give you our enrollment update from the ISD. So the latest has us at just over 38,000 students for the year, and that's about 1,100 more than this time last school year. And we're now at 101% of our projected enrollment for this school year. So we have a lot of campuses that are exceeding their projected enrollments, and so there's a lot of challenges there. And as Mr. Hurst said, there's some balancing that has to go on as a result of that. That does bring us to 29th in terms of the largest school districts in Texas. So we are ranked 29th. Just a bit of trivia, which is also within the top 150 largest districts in the country. So, also wanted to let you know that as a result of the legislature's restoring some of the funding that was cut from public schools back in 2011, at our August school board meeting, we were able to approve our 2013-14 compensation plan. And we were really excited about that because that allowed us to be more competitive in our market area by providing raises for our teachers, professional staff, auxiliary staff, and so on. So we're really excited about that because it helps us to attract and retain our teachers, and in our market area, it brought us from 9th to 4th place in terms of our competitiveness. So we're excited about that. We also added a number of additional teaching, maintenance, and security officer positions as well with that. And we put in place 2 new benefit programs. We have an employee assistance program and a telehealth program that we put in place at no cost to our employees. So that's all very exciting. That's how we spent that money from the state. As Don mentioned, we do kick off each school year with a convocation, and we did bring in Dr. Bill Daggett, and he's the chairman and founder of the Center for Center for Leadership in Education. And he really talked about the importance of preparing our kids for life beyond graduation. You know, we kind of tend to think about, okay, we've got them in elementary and preparing them for middle school, and then preparing them for high school, and then preparing for college, and so on. But really focusing on how are we preparing them for life after graduation. And with how society is changing so fast these days, is our educational system keeping pace with that? And we haven't so far. There's so many technological changes, and so we need to be evolving our instructional practices and so forth to keep pace with that change in society. So, in fact, he said that, and maybe you didn't know this, I imagine that if you have children, at some point you'd like for them to be independent, right? So we talked a lot about that, and he said that In fact, 70% of young people are no longer eligible for the military. 70%. And that rate is increasing about 1% per year. And so you think, well, why are they not eligible for the military anymore? The top reason is because they don't take the GED anymore. They have to actually have a high school diploma. Additionally, the literacy test that used to be a placement test now is an entrance test. So they have to be literate in math, a basic literacy and math test, basically. And that becomes a little harder each year also, just because the technology's advanced, and so the manuals and things that go along with that have to advance as well. So also due to health problems, obesity-related type things, drug issues, legal issues, and all that. So 70%. It's pretty astonishing, because that's kind of the fallback, is what we're thinking. And also our workforce faces a similar challenge in that the large number of our young people today are just not eligible to secure those jobs that pay enough to make them independent. So where are they headed? Back home. Or public assistance, right? And that's just not sustainable as a nation. So we've really, what can we do? You know, we really have to focus on our curriculum, and you know, Don mentioned the challenges out of state, and we really have to develop our curriculum so that it's rigorous and relevant to our students, and it prepares them both for college and career. And Dr. Daggett has a lot of ideas of how to evolve our instructional strategies and ways that we can maybe refine some of the standards, the large number of standards that Texas has, to give us more room to evolve our teaching practices and so forth. So we have engaged him to come back. Those plans are not final yet. I did want to mention that Dr. Daggett's presentation is on the school district website. So if you'd like to learn more, he has a lot of really interesting information there. You can download that presentation right from the school district website at olac.net. And we will be bringing him back sometime around January, and he's agreed to do a few community meetings. So we're going to keep you informed of that so that you'll be able to attend at that time. And I think you'll enjoy hearing what he has to say and helping us as a district embrace that change for our kids. So we'll keep you informed and hope you attend, and I look forward to meeting you all after.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to take just a couple of minutes and follow up with what she had to say. Because one of the things that Dr. Daggett talked about is that, you know, things have changed so much in our world today. Bill Gates is saying that pretty soon you'll be able to have a computer the size of your butt. You won't have to have a keyboard. And I already got that technology. You don't even have to have a keyboard because it shines on something and use it that way. And so he's talked about the fact that things have changed so much outside of the school systems. But you go into the school systems, other than the looks of things, a lot of the way things are done the same way they've been doing for 50 years. One perfect example that he talked about is the keyboard on your computer screen, for the computer. Have you ever wondered why they put the A out there and this over here and this over here? You ever wondered why? In 1917, they changed the keyboard because people were too fast for their typewriters, and their typewriters would stick because if they put their letters in a different spot. Is that the way it is today, or is technology waiting on us? Not at all. I mean, there's so many things that are done, and the thing that I absolutely am so thrilled about being in Unalaska, I've gotten to know Dr. Sconzo very well from even back at the time where I was using Chronicle. He was one of the first superintendents that started working within our region, within the state, within the country, to let our legislature know what was going on with the financial problems, and he's been one of the key persons that in our board have been key people to get this change. Now here's the thing that's really important to understand about what House Bill 5 did. Listen carefully to this. For a graduating senior, up until that bill was passed in Texas, they had to take 15 standardized tests on core subjects. Guess what the highest number in any other state next to that was? Florida, which required 6. Now it's down to 5. Still the second highest state in the union as far as standardized tests, but it's a big step in the right direction. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. 7 out of the top 10 states in the union as far as academic performance don't have any standardized tests at all. Now here's why this is so important. I spent about 30 minutes talking with Dr. Sconzo. I've got to tell you, after I left Dr. Daggett's presentation, I was pretty discouraged in a way because it's such a big job that's going to have to take place. And one of the questions that I asked in the middle of that meeting, you know, obviously Dr. Sconzo invited us there for a reason. And I said, well, what do you need from us? What he said and what Dr. Sconzo said in follow-up conversations is we need the business community to be available to help educate our teachers and our students about what they're going to need to be able to do when they get out of here. And so one of the things that they're doing is because they don't have so many standardized tests, they're going to be looking at ways, you know kids, that my son was this way. He didn't like school. He is brilliant, but it bored him to tears. And he wasn't able to work with things that really got him going. So it's a tremendous challenge. But you know what? And Corey, I'm telling Jennifer, just hang on because we've got opportunities as a business community to interact with our schools in a way like never before. It's an exciting, challenging time, but what tremendous opportunities for our students. My only regret, my son's a senior or junior, and he doesn't get to do all of that, but I'm excited about our district for that. So thank you for bearing with me on that. Now, can you do something for me before we have Charlie come up? We always love hearing from Charlie. Okay. Oh, isn't that a wonderful picture? You can roll it. Okay. Okay, you may be wondering where these pictures come from. Anybody know where these pictures came from?
Yes.
Where? Your drive, flash drive, right? Okay, so remember last time when we had that gentleman stand over here? Okay, that's called Tap Snap, and they were so gracious. It was so much fun. And you can just kind of keep rolling that, and you can probably just take off that one picture with some more things. But anyway, so it was, okay. You got the gist. Okay. So Gene Haddock was my boss over at the Houston Chronicle, and now he is with Dr. Pepper, and they have that business. It is a tremendous thing. Print Princess. So it is a tremendous thing to have at events. So if you'd like to do that, his email is right there. So. All right, so next we're going to be having Charlie come up in just a moment. And then I would like for you, if you have to leave at 12, please do that. But we're going to go right into it. I'm going to try and encourage you to stay. Charlie, come on up. Johnny Football. Oh, no, Charlie. Okay. Charlie, the president of the Chamber of Commerce.
Charlie Football.
Charlie Football.
Charlie Football.
I'll be glad to sign anybody's autograph, but I need to be paid for it. Unlike Johnny Football, I need to be paid for signing. But I heard Aggie Warham golf a while ago. I jumped up and did a whoop. And, thought, man, people are really getting into this already today. And we're going to beat the hell out of Alabama tomorrow. Sorry about cussing in the school.
The principal's office.
Send me to the principal's office. But we're going to go after them. I'm going to be there. Hey, there's a lot of great things happening out in our overall region, economic development wise. And one thing I'd like to encourage you to do, if you haven't done, go to our economic development website, www.Lake Houston EDP, Economic Development Partnership. We have a new publication on there that you can download and use in your business. And if you need copies of it, call us at the Chamber office and we'll get those for you. It's called an Overview of Economic Activities. And we're keeping track of a lot of the things happening in our entire region, not just Summer Creek, but in the entire region. And it's a great resource for you to tell people, here's what's happening in our area, and using it in your business when you're trying to generate business. So I ask you to go to the website and look at that and use that. We update it every month, and so we try to keep it fresh and keep the newest things that have happened in the area on that. So and also, if any of you in trying to look to expand your business or help bring anybody here, I want you to know we've got some great capabilities of doing demographics and information to help you build that case or sell a customer. Michael Pratt has interned with us. He's working his master's in economic development from the University of New Orleans, and he'll finish that this next year, but he's now gone full-time with us, and so he's there to help develop information for you. So if you've got a project you're working on or a customer you're trying to get and you need some data on the area, we can do it by area wide, we can do zip codes, we can do polygons. I don't know what a polygon is, but Michael says we can do one. I know what it is. We've got all types of capabilities, and we're young and lean, but we're pretty aggressive. So if you need some help, please give us a call. One thing I wanted to also tell you about, Generation Park. McCord Development just announced this week a new portion of their Generation Park they're going to start construction on in 6 to 12 months. It's called ESPA. Got that? ESPA. And it's going to be a mixed-use retail and restaurant, open air, walkable area in Generation Park that'll service a lot of the, not just the companies that are going to come there, but also will service the drive-by community as well. So we are still waiting with bated breath for FMC to announce their plans for the area, and in keeping with our chamber policy that we let communities make their own companies make their own announcements. We'll just wait until they're ready to tell us what they're going to do. I do know that Generation Park has several major projects they're working on right now, and everything's moving along. They've been very pleased with the interest level they've received, and have utility projects going, and that's the first thing that has to happen. So there's still a lot of activity going on, and even down in Fall Creek Plaza opened up. It's 100,000 square feet of retail space. So there's a lot of activity in our general vicinity, and keep posted, because the best is yet to come.
Thank you. Appreciate that very, very much. So before we go into the next part, if we have elected officials in here, please raise your hand real quick. Any elected officials? Okay, so what we're going to start out with, and let me explain how this works. What we're going to ask you to do is keep it to 30 seconds. And what we'll do, I'll get some big guy like Dwayne or somebody to pull you off if it's more than 30 seconds. But before we do that, I wanted to mention Sam Schrade, who he has been putting this on the websites for us. Tremendous partner. We appreciate you so much, Sam. Give him a round of applause.